Hello guys, David down here. Back for another video, and as you guys know, this video we're starting with conditionals. So the if statement is the first one that we're gonna take a look at. So I'm sure you guys have heard of it in most programming languages. We've got these things called conditionals, and in Python it's denoted by if. But you see now, I've put the if statement here, the markdown for if statement, I've put it here at the bottom because I want us to work towards it. There's a few things that we need to first understand before we get onto the if statement. If, if, which stands for else if or else statement, right? But we'll get there now. It's first important that we understand these comparison and relational operators, and then the logical operators, and then a boolean. But we're going to work into these nicely and then into the if statement, right? So in Python, just like in maths, like in numbers, like you did at school, we have these relational operators, right? Or comparison operators: greater than, less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So if you do something like this in Python, now I'm just spacing it out. You don't have to. You could write it like this, right on top of each other. It's fine. It's not a problem. But I'm just spacing it out so you can see nicely. If you do something like this essentially for Python, if you leave it just like this is valid code that will actually tell you something. So let's run this and see. We see we get the word false, capital F, false, right? If we do this, we will get an answer. So let's do that. We'll get an answer, say true, right? So let's quickly explore why there is. Intuitively, you might be able to see why. This is the greater than sign. So if I put a greater than sign in between 2 and 3, I'm asking Python a question. This is asking a question. Is 2 greater than 3? Well, the answer is no. So if I run this, I'm going to get no or false in Python. So Python doesn't say yes or no. It says true or false, like most other programming languages do. Okay, so just again, this could be on top of each other. It's not a problem. This is essentially a question for Python. False. So let's ask it another question. Is 2 greater than this big number? The answer is no. The answer is false. Is this number greater than 2? The answer is true, right? Okay, fine. So that's less than and greater than. You'll see here that we also have equal to. Now, equal to, the reason we don't use one equal sign is, you might know, the equal sign is reserved for a variable. So my variable, just going over this, we don't need to do this, equals a string with my name in it, right? So you know what this does. This is just me saving something to a variable. We've done this a ton of times. So that's what this equal sign is reserved for in Python. Yeah. So the reason we use to check equality when it comes to numbers, or we can actually also check variables. We'll get onto that. But for now, let's keep it at numbers. To check equality, we'll use the double equal sign. So if I do this, I'm saying, does 2 equal 2? So if I run this, I should get yes or no, true or false. So I'm going to stop saying yes or no. I'm going to use the right diction, true or false. So if I run this, the answer should be true because 2 does equal 2. If I say 200, well, this is false because 2 doesn't equal 200. So this is completely valid code. You're asking Python a question, you're getting an answer, right? So that's equal to. So you could put it on either side. You could put this number on this side, the smaller number. We could put 2 on this side. It's fine. That's still a question. That's still false. And then 2 equals 2. So I hope that makes sense. And then you get greater than or equal to. Now I'm going to spend a little bit of time with this one because, again, there's some intuition that's not very obvious here. So if I say 2, right, and then let's take greater than or equal to, right? Let's use the signs here. It is greater than or equal to 2. Now, if you were to intuitively think of what happens here, what do you think would happen here? So the question is, Python, is 2 greater than or equal to 2? Now, for those of you that said that the answer here should be false, I can completely understand why you would think the answer should be false, because 2 is not greater than 2, but it is equal to 2, right? So how it works with Python, particularly when we use the word or, right? We're gonna see or here again, and it means the same thing. So this or and this or here in between this greater than and equal to, there's the word or, if you can picture that. Like this is this greater than or equal to is basically the wording of this. So there's an or here. In Python, when you use the keyword or, and or is also a keyword, but we'll get to that now. You'll see it lights up there. So it just needs one of the two conditions to be true for the whole entire question to be true. So this is going to be true because as much as 2 is not greater than 2, yes, the first part of the question is false, but the second part of the question is right. And so if we run this, we get the word true. So when you use the keyword or in your programming, it just needs one of the two conditions to be true. So let's change this and let's put this number here. Is 2 greater than this number? No, it's not. Is 2 equal to this number? It's not equal to this number either, right? So in this case, when you use or, you'll get false because both are not true. But if I take the number 1 here, 2 is greater than 1. 2 is not equal to 1, but so long as one of the two things is true when we use the or keyword, which is in here, greater than or equal to, we're going to get true. So true because we just need one of them to be true. That's just the way it is. That's how Python interprets these things. Okay. And then same logic for less than or equal to. So let's take 100. Is 100 less than or equal to 100, right? So 100 is not less than 100, but 100 is equal to 100, and you've used the or keyword. So one of the two things is true, the whole thing is true. If 100 is 100 greater than 100, well, you've asked me one question, the word or is not here. I can give you an answer for this. The answer is false. 100 is not greater than 100. 100 is in fact equal to 100. That's the only way this can be true, except for if I use greater than or equal to. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let's come on to or we'll leave and for now. We'll get on to and later, but let's just stress this or home. Let me try to think about how we can use or here. Okay, in fact, these logical operators, we'll come back to them after we've come to the if statement. We'll use logical operator examples after we've covered what the if statement is. So what you saw here, right? What you saw here, so is 12 greater than 10. Run. It is, we get true. This is called a boolean. It's this thing in Python. It is also a data type. It is also a data type. So you can save a boolean to a variable. So you could do this. We'll see use cases for why you'd want to do this. Do you see how it lights up? And it's not like a string or an integer or anything. It's a data type, true. You can save the word true, which is a data type, into my var. So these are called booleans. So this is in fact, when I kept saying question, 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 it's actually a boolean expression. A boolean expression. That's the correct lingo. Boolean expression. It's a boolean expression because when I run it, I get a boolean as an answer. True, right? I get one of these as an answer. Okay, now let's come on to this if statement. An if statement is giving you asking Python to make a decision based on a true statement. Okay, so let's put that into code. So if 2 is greater than 3, right? Print 2 is greater than 3. And then I just want to do this as well. Print this is not in the if statement. Okay, now let me code this out. Remember we spoke about not coding, comment this out. It won't run. This won't run. Now it's comment. I told you sometimes you'll see programmers comment things out when they don't want things to get into the way. They're going to use it maybe now, but they want to keep it there so maybe they don't forget, but they don't want to use it right now. Okay, so if Python, if 2 is greater than 3, print 2 is greater than 3. Now I want to turn your attention to two things here. This colon and the spacing that's here. So this spacing is called an indent. It's called indenting. Indentation is the word for that. Like this, indentation. That's what that spacing is. It is 4 spaces, or you could hit tab. So tab, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spaces. I just did it with the 4 spaces now. Or I could hit tab. Most of your text editors now, guys, should do this for you. So after you put the colon's mandatory. It's part of the syntax. You have to have it, otherwise you're going to get an error. And then I hit enter. If I've done this correctly, it will indent for me, right? And then then Python saying to you, okay, so if 2 is greater than 3, what do you want me to do? So I want you to print 2 is greater than 3. So let's see what happens if I run this. So 2 isn't greater than 3, right? It's not. This is false what you're asking me. You're telling me if 2 is greater than 3, print this. Okay, well, it's not. So I'm not going to print it. So let's change this and make it true. So is 2 less than 3? Well, yes. So what do? I come to the indent and I do what you've told me to do in the indented code, in what's indented here. So let's run this. It prints to me 2 is greater than 3 because this condition is true. I could add a whole lot of stuff here, right? Like that. I could print, look at me, whatever. I could even create a variable. My name, right? Like this. So long as long as this condition is true, everything in the indent that follows will happen. So 2 is greater than 3, haha, s, whatever, and then we now have a variable that has got this in it. So if we were to print the variable, now it's very important, guys, that you watch the video that I'm going to make after this, so that, because we're going to build now on this, but I'm just running out of time now. So you see my var is Mawande and it prints here. So we print 2 is greater than 3, SD, whatever, and then we saved Mawande into my var, and I'm just trying to show you that this action did happen. If I print my var here, it prints, okay? And this is all for as long as 2 is greater than 3, for as long as this condition is true. Again, if this condition is not true, like that, then none of this happens. Now, again, guys, I'm going to stop the video here and I'm going to build on this logic now.